Here we are, back at it again, my friends. Okay, this is a new year, 2023. What will you be in who will you be in 2023? Oh.
Everyday life, friends and family makes up the artist's dream.
I remember back when I was playing for the church, we would always have like a New Year's Eve service, right? Y'all got pardon me, I'm eating some gummies right now. But we would always have like a New Year's Eve celebration, kind of bring in the new year and focus. And one of the pastors or somebody, a speaker would always have, they would always have some saying, right? Like a mantra to carry out the year. So here, the Artistry of Podcast, where our thing is going to be, who will you be in 2023? Okay? Who will I be in 2023? Because we get to choose. And we don't have all of the information. All right? The cards are stacked against us. In some instances. Some of you guys, you're running the deck. Okay, inspect the deck. You're getting low with the stroll. Introducing the ghost face killer. Right? So some of you guys have a little bit more greasy hands with the deck than the rest of us. Let me grab this water. Right? So, but for the most part, until you get a hold of the deck, until you get a hold of it, we don't know, right? So that's going to be a factor, but don't let that get you down. Okay? You can still accomplish goals, things that you've set for yourself, right? And that's really all we can do is set goals for ourselves. Set some things that are obtainable, right? Boom, I'm going to get healthier. Now you have a direct effect on that. Come up with a plan, right? Look at the situation. All right, I'm eating 2 donuts and drinking a Nestle Quick in the mornings every morning. So, okay, can you just cut all of that sugar out, or do you have to cut down to 1 donut in a drink? And okay, if it's in the morning, let's say you can't even cut down to 2, right? Boom. Stretch it out for the whole day. All right, I'm going to eat half of the donut in the morning. As soon as I get off from work, I'm going to eat the other half for lunch. I'm going to start my new one for dinner-ish, and before dinner, maybe a snack, and then the fourth quarter, the last intake for dessert, right? So now we're still doing the same thing, but we're stretching it out further, and then we can start to cut down. All right, so now that I've stretched it out, because the main thing that we want to do is we're just talking about establishing discipline. Because a lot of times that's really all we lack as it takes and as it pertains to us in the equation, right? Because that's really all we can work on right now. if I only can work on one part of that equation, it's going to be me. That's the part, that's the variable that I can control, or at least I can see it, right? I can see myself. So I know what I need to do, or at least have an idea of what I need to do. So I can at least, since I can see it, then I can be it. Okay. We had to go to prison on that one and grab a line from our boy R. Kelly. Now I know some of y'all wrote him off. Okay. But look, man, how many roads must a man walk down before you can call him a man? All right. Redemption. Okay. People can see the error in their ways. They can see that they were wrong. All right. So y'all just don't write our boy R. Kelly off just so quickly. Yeah. See, what he did was wrong, but there's a chance for rehabilitation. All right. Now, if you can see it, then you can be it. All right. So work on you. Right. So that's going to be the first part for 2023. So when we say, okay, who will I be in 2023? Boom. Let's focus on what I can do, right? Let's focus on what you can do. We can't worry about the other stuff, the environment, the traffic lights, the weather. Like we can't really worry about that. Now, there are systems in place to take advantage and to kind of help us understand that. But before we focus on that stuff, let's go ahead and work on the driver just a little bit. All right. So that's it, right? Who will I be in 2023? And, we kicked off the year out of the country. And this was my first trip out of the country. This is the first time that I went out the country, and I enjoyed it. I mean, I just loved it. And just seeing so much opportunity. There was an episode on Joe Rogan where they were showing the thousands. It was like tens and maybe, I can't say tens of thousands, but it could have been. I mean, it could have been 10 to 15,000. I'm not really sure what was the number, but it was quite a sea of people all mining for some mineral that Apple uses. And I'm sure they probably mine for all of the companies, all of your tech companies. And it was just cheap labor, right? So this is before I even left the country. So I was already aware of cheap labor, right? Outside of the U.S. I was already aware of that. But then when I got outside and I started to, crunch some of the numbers from the workers that we were encountering, I'm like, man, that's what I need, right? I need cheap labor. I mean, if it was good for my grandfather, 'twas good for my grandfather. It was good for my grandfather. It's good enough for me. I'm like, oh, I need some cheap labor, right? I need people working for me for pennies on the dollar. We're talking about a day wage of $8, right? I'm giving you $8 a day. And you happy? Like, yo, you like, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. Right? $8, $8 buckaroos. Man. Well, sign me up. So then it's like, all right, so what can I do, right? What type of labor, what can I start up over there? Right? So it just got me thinking. Like, yo, what can I do? So I was over in the DR. We brought in the new year over in the DR, the Dominican Republic. And that's what I learned. I mean, I learned that there are places where people are working for pennies and they get a daily rate, which we know about that over here in the States, right? We got that. We got that here. FedEx, Amazon. I'm not sure if DHL pays a flat day rate, but Amazon and FedEx, they pay a day rate, right? Usually 140 to, I would say 250 a day would be the day rate, right? 140 to 250. And people do it, right? People do it and people live. So one of the things that one of the guys, one of my mentors, my business mentors, shout out to JP. He was like, yo, man, it's all relative. Right? So if we look at him and we like, yo, man, you getting all this money, yo, you making all this money. That's like the people over in the DR looking at, somebody in America. Right? So the DR, you probably making, like I said, 10, let's say 10 to, and they don't make, I don't think they make 30, right? But let's just say, because we're going to keep the numbers at scale right now. Some people make less, but let's say they making between $14 a day and $25, right? So between $14 and $25 a day. That's what they're making over in the DR. Like I said, I know drivers over here in America that's making 140 to 250, right? A day. But it's still the same thing. It's still they working all day. And if you're not budgeting right, if you're not really in the zone, then you never get ahead and you constantly working just from check to check, day to day. And that $14 to $25 a day is the same as making 140 to 250 a day, right? Where you get ahead is if you're in the DR, but you can so if you can live like you're in the DR, as far as the villages and just that whole way of life, right? You live like you're in the DR, but you're making the U.S. wage. Well, like, yo, man, you about to kill a game. You making $250 a day, where everybody else is making, everybody else is making $25 a day. Like, yo, man, you about to ball out. We fly high, no lie. You know this ballin'. Like, yo, you about to kill it. So it's the same thing here, right? It's all relative. So if I'm making 140 a day, which, I make far less. I don't even know how much I make a day, which I should know. You should know everything about yourself. So who will I be in 2023? I will be aware. Like, that's who I will be. So, I gotta, I'm gonna have to redo all of my numbers, and I'm sure I've done the numbers before, right? I'm sure I've done them before, but we have to look at that, right? Okay. So let's say I'm making 140 a day. So if I'm making 140 a day, there's somebody somewhere that's making $1,400 a day. There's somebody making $1,400 a day, working 12 or 50, 11 hours. They hate their job. They hate their life. They just working check to check. And then there's somebody who's making $14,000 a day, who hate their job. They're working 50, 11 hours. They working check to check, right? And so on. $140,000 a day. I mean, and that's crazy to think, but there are, because if you make $400 million, that means you're making $1 million a day, right? So we know that's a given. All right. If you're a billionaire, then you're making around $3 million a day. If you're a billionaire, right? So we can just say $4 million a day if you're a billionaire, right? So just to say that it's all relative is just to say that there are people living with whatever income that they're living, and they're still stressed. Their back is against the wall. They got a plan for this vacation. They got a plan for this, maybe once a year, twice a year. Keep up with all of these mortgages, keep up with the rent, right? No matter what, it's all the same. It's just a different word. But the trick is to live like you're in the DR, but work in the United States. What is it? Unidos Ustidos or something like that. I don't remember. I know it's like Unidos Estudos, something like that. That's how you say the United States in Spanish, right? But that's the trick, because if you're making 140 a day in America, but yet you're over in the DR, like, yo, you are killing the game, right? You're killing the game. So that's what I learned. Like, that's what I learned just this trip, and it just like reaffirmed just why I want to be wealthy. Like, why? Right? This trip, it just affirmed it. It just was like, yo, this is why you want it. This is what you want to do. This is the life that you want to live. The only problem is, like we said, the other, when we balance that equation, the other variables I don't know. And that's a problem, right? So we have to have awareness, right? So, that's all. Let's see, last week I wanted, because I left, I think we left that Wednesday. So yeah, we either left Wednesday or Thursday. So I was, I had to get ready, get everything together, do some light cleaning around the house. You want to get stuff together, get it tightened up before you actually get out chair and just doing whatever, right? Doing the devil's dance. You want to have your home ready, so when you come back, you don't have to clean too much. Let me take a drink. Right. So we did that, and just time was slipping away, and I'm like, man, I can't record. And I was even thinking that I could have did my cyberpunk album. Just put it up on here, or even I don't think I put The Marvelous Adventures of Robert James. I didn't put that album up here yet. And I released the album on Christmas. So I was thinking about, dropping like a music episode and just kind of giving you guys a heads up. Hey, I'm going to be leaving. I'll catch y'all next week, and then we'll jump back in with spoken word with This is Spoken Word with your host, Bo Miles, right? So I was thinking about that, but look, time got away from your boy, okay? Time was like one of those beautiful, those bonitas, huh? They got away from your boy. And, so, you know, that's what was going on. We have a vision for this year, right? We have to make ourselves available. We have to work for others, right? That's my plan. And it is to really lock down with the programming, right? Now, your boy definitely has debt, so I can't, it's not like I can't not focus on that, right? I have to focus on it before I even left, because my other job, it was a seasonal job. So it was like, yo, all right, so after Christmas, the gig's up, right? So I knew that was coming. And that was definitely stressful. I mean, I was stressed out, but you know, it's like, look, there's really nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do about it. So just tend to it, deal with it when you come back. But until then, look, just go there, try to take your mind away, take your mind off of the stress, which I did. I kind of thought about it briefly, but just being over in the DR, it definitely helped. It just, and just seeing the workers work, knowing that, like, yo, they working for, you know, pennies on the dollar. But like our mentor JP says, you know, it's all relative. So when you look at someone else and you can see hope, and you can see relaxation, you can see triumph in someone else, know that someone can look at you and see hope in you. Someone can look at you right now in your current situation. They can see triumph. They can see you overcoming. They can see you being a conqueror. A lot of times we can't see it for ourselves, but if you can look, if you can look down, right? You can look down somewhere, find somewhere where you can look down, where you can look at someone who's not doing as well as you are, and look at them and see positivity, see that courage, see the tenacity, right? You can see that in them. Then just know that someone can look at you and also see it. So let that inspire you. Let you be motivated by yourself, even if you can't see it. Just imagine that there is somebody out there who's making $14,000 a day, living however they're living, and they look at you and they like, man, you know what? This person is showing that it is possible, right? Somebody making $14,000 a day, they look at you, they look at me, and they get excited, they get motivated, right? They get rejuvenated. So that's what we got to do for ourselves, because it's going to be hard, right? Because we don't control the stop lights, the traffic lights. We don't control the weather. So all of that chaos that comes with that, as far as other people interacting with the streets as we're driving, that's a factor that we can't control. But we cannot let it get us down. Let it get us off of rhythm. Let it get us out of keel. So it's like, yo, man, that's good. All right, let's go ahead and start the podcast. Jizzos, cuzzos, all right? Your boy is just joking, joshing you. But another thing that caught my attention, and I've been checking this out, and this is the Idaho quadruple murder, right? So they got this guy. They have a suspect, Brian Koberger. He is the suspect, and he was identified by DNA in a public genealogy database. And we've gone over these genealogy database, right? We've gone over it in previous episodes. So this stuff was not new to us, right? This stuff was not new to us, but this case, it definitely just, my whole lot, like the whole thinking with this is like a plane crash. So when each plane crashes, they study what went wrong so that they can improve on it. And once they started, because planes used to go down all the time, but then they started to study and started to see and make the proper adjustment so that wouldn't happen. That became big business. That became business in itself. So now you have a relatively safe flying experience when you fly. Now, of course, we still have the hand-me-down type of effect going on. The top of the line planes are usually reserved for the wealthy, and so it just trickles down. And then you have whoever's just getting in the game. People really don't want him in the game anyway. So now they're getting, I can't say faulty, but they're getting not up to standard, or not up to true standard quality of a plane. Now, they're not going to let these planes crash like that, because that could hurt the whole market. And that's how I look at this new age of crime and solving murders, solving just rapes. And now I feel like, as we study these cases and we study what happened, why it happened, it is in an attempt to prevent these things. Some things you can't prevent. If you get into an argument with a guy, you disrespect him, and he's a killer, 9 times out of 10, he's going to kill you. Even if he just gets bloodthirsty, which that happens. People are, they're not really killers. They're not sociopaths. They just lack empathy, and everybody isn't like that. It's like a drug. You're just a regular old person looking at the world in a regular way, and then you take, let's say you go ahead and you kill a couple of your enemies, and you get that dopamine, that high, just that rush. And you start doing it. You just start killing people. And it's not even that you lack empathy. It's just, you can just get high off of murder. And you can just get that thrill and just everything. You just get addicted to that feeling. And you're just like, yo, I need to go ahead and put in some work. Put in some work? What you mean? Yeah. I ain't feeling like myself. Hey, I need to get away from you. So it's people like that, right? That you can't, there's no way to prevent that. But this, we have to get all of the information out before we can say, okay, what they should have done. Because it's really not about what they should have done, because it was nothing that they could have done that was going to stop this. But for the next person, maybe we can learn from what happened to the 4 victims, and we can better prepare for the next 4 or the next whoever, right? So one of the things that I see with this is a few things. Now, and that's what really kind of just caught my eye, because I knew that just with a knife, with a knife, you have a greater chance. Just with anything sharp, you have a chance of injuring yourself. You know, poking yourself, just cutting yourself. Cutting yourself on a person's fingernails. I mean, it's easy. Cutting your hand on their mouth. I mean, it's so easy because when you're moving, just the way that we imagine. Like I said, a lot of the information hasn't come out so that we truly have an accurate portrait or an accurate video of what happened. But just from the accounts, from the officers that were there and that spoke to different news outlets and their girlfriends and things of that nature, we know that the crime scene was pretty messy, and it was pretty just graphic. So they knew that they had a lot of DNA information. Now, I wasn't thinking that they were going to use a genealogy database, right? Now, I should have, because we've already covered this, but I was thinking that was kind of reserved for like serial killers, right? That was reserved for, okay, look, we have really like past murders. So even though we covered this type of stuff, and I even talked about some of the tactics of new age crime prevention, I just really was not thinking that a genealogy database was going to be used, right? And that was just, I guess, the ignorance. Oh, something else I learned on that trip, right? And it just goes back to this. It goes back to this, and the whole idea is awareness, right? We have to be aware. Now, you guys know that we've done the genealogy database. So that should have been right in my mind as soon as I heard this, and I knew that they had DNA information. Like, I should have thought, they need to use the genealogy database. All right. Now, some misinformation is out there. Like Ancestry.com and 23andMe that, police can just go in there and use it, but they can't. They can't do that. There is a public one that links all of this stuff together, and you have to give consent in order for this, for your information to even be used. Now, 23andMe and Ancestry.com, they don't even allow officers to create a profile to start searching, right? You can't do that. So if you're a cop and look, man, I'm gonna do you're a rogue, right? This is a Splinter Cell cop right here. Like, that can't even be used. But what it can do, and this is why, because what we're going to see is there's going to be a debate. Now, me personally, I feel like, look, man, we just shouldn't be out here killing people. I mean, that's just really what it boils down to. Now, see, I understand the other side of it, because the other side of it is, all right, well, we start with murder. It's just like in anything. We start with barbarians, and then we just inflict it on everybody. And just like I didn't think about the genealogy being used so soon, right? Didn't even come to my mind. There's other things that I'm not thinking, that's not even coming to my mind, that people can exploit and manipulate and get rich off of the genealogy database. And that's really, that's what it's about. So the people who are fighting the good fight, so that this stuff is not used against us, I salute y'all. The guys was like, yo, man, this isn't right. Here, let's turn this microphone. So they're right. Now, on the other hand, I'm like, yo, you shouldn't be raping people. Okay? You shouldn't be raping. You shouldn't be killing. So if you're a family member of mine, because my information is up. So if you're a family member of mine and they link and they find you off of my hit, they like, oh, all right. He was a cousin, right? He a cousin. They share the same great grandfather. And then let's just, lock it down. I'm good with that. Because, like, yo, man, you shouldn't be out here killing people. You shouldn't be out here raping people. So if they use my DNA to find you, long lost cousin, like, yo, I'm good with that. Right? Yo, it is what it is, bro. You can't be out here raping chicks. You can't be out here killing chicks and kids, mate. They're like, all right, what if it's justified? The justice system ain't justice. It's just us. Okay. And so look, I don't like the justice system. I don't like it. And people manipulate, people use, prosecutors. They're just so horrible. And, I'm going to do a video tomorrow because, I talked about it before, how I'm going to do more videos on the artistry of page, right? So my reaction videos are going to go up on there. So that way it can just kind of generate more traffic and awareness for the podcast. But, let's see. I don't want to get too far off a topic. But the prosecutors, like, I just have a big problem. And the McDonald's scam, I have a big problem with that prosecutor. So I'm going to talk about that, right? But my whole point for now is that I don't like the justice system. I don't like it. It's corrupt. But yet we still need to be held accountable. We still need it, right? Even if we need to fix it, come up with a way to be just. Come up with a way to keep the integrity, because the integrity is gone. There's no real integrity in the cops. There's no integrity in the prosecutors. There's no integrity in the judges. Like, it's definitely the shit is shot. Like, I'm not so I'm not, by a long haul, I'm not saying, yo, my cousin, he go ahead and murk somebody. Like, yo, the justice system is going to be fair to him. Like, yo, it's not. It's not. But even he has to stand accountable for that. even if it was just, right? Even if, it's self-defense is whatever, he still needs to be held accountable. So I'm not saying give him, 30 years or give him 10 years, right? But still be held accountable. Still know that, like, in our society, we don't want this, right? So even if he feels just in it, he should know that, like, man, our society, all right, boom, the guy, you just walking down the street, he just some crazy guy, and he's just trying to attack you, and then, look, you got to defend your life, you got to protect yourself, you kill him, right? You kill him. There should be a record of that. Now, I'm not saying you should go to jail, because I don't like jail. I don't believe in jail, right? But now, if you're going around here raping and killing women, like, all right, well, you probably want to. We just can't have you out here in the streets, right? So I believe that there needs to be a system, but the current system that we have, I mean, is shit. It is, right? So, with that being said, I'm on Ancestry and 23andMe, so they can't even use my profile, right? So I didn't create a public one, which we'll get into that one, right? I'm sure there's going to be some other case, and as this one, as the details unfold within this week and next week. I know that some of the case files have been sealed until March, as far as Brian Kohlberger, the Idaho murderer, alleged for now, right? So some of that stuff is sealed until March, but like, I would definitely upload it in the public genealogy database, because if it's going to help put some killers off, help capture a rapist, stop a rapist, stop a killer, I'm all for it. But like I said, I mean, just human nature is manipulative, so it's going to definitely figure out a way to use that to make more money, right? So, like I said, I was definitely interested in this case just for that reason, right? But the other thing that I learned pertaining to, remember when I said I didn't even think about the genealogy database, even though we covered it already. So I did like one of those excursion party boats, right? So we do the party boat, and a part of the party boat is that you go scuba diving, or I guess that's what you would call it. I'm trying to think of what you would, because maybe deep sea diving or something. Again, excuse me for chewing these gummies in your ear. This is the last one. I'm not going to eat anymore until tomorrow. But the deep sea diving, you're out in the ocean. They find a spot. It's probably like 10 feet. And you swim over to this area. You swim over to the area where you're going to go deep sea diving. And I'm like, all right, now, I did not take into account, just like with this genealogy database, I didn't take into account the different fears that might arise and that might come up once I got in the water, right? Now, I know how to swim. I know how to tread water. I know how to stay afloat. All of my training has been done in the pool and along the coast, like along the coastline of a beach, right? Whether it's Miami or Hilton Head or Myrtle or Wilmington, right? There's another Madeira, right? So all of my training has been, like I said, done in a pool in a controlled setting. Now, when I go to do this deep sea dive, right? Like, yo, right? First part of the deep sea dive is the deep sea. You dig? That. So once I got off the boat, right? So when I got off the boat, and you take like a ladder or whatever, and that's how you get into the water. And when as I got in there, like my body started to, the lower part of my body started to pull closer to the boat. And it was as if like I could have went under the boat. Right? So you had that, and then there was no coastline to get to, right? Like we're in the middle. We're in the middle of the sea. So there is no coastline that you can see that it's like, okay, all right, if things go awry, you can always swim over here and you'll be okay. Right. So that was gone. And so, like I said, once my legs started to kind of like gravitate towards the boat, like as if I was going under it. And it wasn't like I was going under. I'm sure it was definitely something in just the way that my body kind of tensed up or whatever. But that it just was going that direction. So I panicked, right? So then I got back up. I pulled myself back up on the boat, and some others were getting down, right? They was like, "Yo, you back up?" I'm like, "Yeah, give me a second, right? Give me a second. Give me a second, and I'm getting back in, right? Because I knew, okay, look, this is just a little obstacle. This is just a hurdle that you have to jump. It's nothing, right? Get back in there, right? Look, my dad had to come there in the moment and just wrap his arms around me and say like, yo, you good? All right, get back in there. You got this. You can do it. This is light work. All right. Now I love you. Get back in there. Okay. So look, the spirit of my dad had to come in there and let me know. Get back in there. So I'm like, yo, man, I'm getting back in there. Look, man, y'all know your boy Bo, man. Look, all right, I take a little hit. All right. Hey, yo, one more round. So I get back in there and I feel that pull towards the boat. So I push myself away from the boat. I'm in there in the water, right? And I'm in there. We're in the sea, and I'm doing my basic stuff, right? I'm doing everything that you need. Look, I'm staying afloat. I'm swimming. I'm moving. Now I'm swimming with the current, so it's pushing me. So it's pushing me over, and everybody else is a good. I would say they're probably like 20 to 50 feet away from me. So I got to swim over to them, right? 20 to 50 feet. And it's just me by myself, right? Because everybody's already over at the dive site. Now the boat. So yeah, so they're probably about 50 feet. The boat is about 20 feet. away. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just have to swim back to the boat, you know, because they're already gone, and if something goes wrong, right? If I just look, you just never know. Like, yo, we're in the sea. Like, yo, we're in the ocean right now. Like, this ain't the pool. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just swim back to the boat. So as I'm swimming back to the boat, it's harder for me to move because I'm swimming against the current, and the current is changing. Like, it's changing. And because I was swimming against the current, then you have these nice size waves. It's nothing huge. Like, it's no real big waves, right? But it was just the fact that I didn't have that safety net that I always have. I always have a safety net every time that I've been in the water. But this time with no safety net, and boom, now I got to swim 20, 25 feet over to the boat, and I'm going against the current. It's like, yo, like I could feel myself panic. And what I felt the most, it wasn't like, yo, you about to drown. It was like, yo, I really need to get to this boat, right? I need to get to this boat. But like, I could just feel myself panicking. So as I panicked more and more, the more and more water got in my mouth, right? So now you got more and more water that's in my mouth. And it was like, oh man. Now, like I said, at no point did I feel like I was going to drown. I didn't feel like I was going to drown. Because if you guys remember, those of you who've been with me since the beginning, and those of you who went back a few episodes might have heard me say it, but I almost drowned as a kid. So I know that feeling. So I didn't panic to that feeling, but I still wasn't comfortable. I wasn't at ease. So as I'm trying to make my way back to the boat, I get kind of close to the ladder, but then I get like pushed over, right? I get pushed over, like, so I'm off course. And there was a guy, he was right at the base of the ladder. So he was going up, but then he came down a little bit and then gave me his hand so that I could, reach over and get on to the ladder. Right. So we got to the ladder, and, I got up and I was like, yo, but I should have thought about that. I should have thought about that. That I could panic because this is not a controlled setting. And once I got up there, and like I was telling like some of the homies up there, like, yo, the best way I can liken this would be, I would liken it to practicing MMA, right? So you practice MMA, you practice stand up, you practice the ground and pound, you practice getting out of throws and getting out of submissions and staying close. Like, you practice for all of this, but in a real fight, and Tyson says it, like, once you get punched in your nose, like, all of that goes out the window, like, boom. And that's what happened. It was like, once I'm swimming against the current, and the current is changing, right? So it's not just, it's going in one direction. Like, it's like the current is moving in all directions. So once there is no border that you swim to. So if you're in the middle of the pool, right? Look, I just swim about 10 feet over and grab onto the ledge and just just kind of hold on, get myself back together, pull myself together, swim down to the bottom, push my feet up, right? Kick off at the bottom, push myself back up to the top. like all of that is out the window. Then with the you have have this tube in your mouth. The tube is it like water goes in it, right? So, and I didn't even make it that far, right? But because all of that other stuff happened, I was able to have the proper awareness to think about, okay, I put that tube in my mouth and it fills up with water, right? You really got to push, like you got to exhale hard to empty that tube. So if you swim a little bit and you feel, just a little bit uneasy, this is your first time, and you go to push that water out, you go to exhale, because you got to really give a good, like, right? You got to really clear. It's a nice sized tube. I would say it's probably around 4 to 6 ounces of water in that tube. I wouldn't be surprised if it was 8 ounces. Right? So you got the tube, gravity is pushing down on this tube. You got to spit or, exhale hard, pushed all of that water out. And then now, boom, now you can breathe. But see, I was already aware because I already felt just that anxiety and that I already cracked under the pressure of being in the ocean for the first time. Right. So I cracked under the pressure. And once I got up there and I kind of pulled myself together, then one of the guys, he was a guide. He was our guide. And, he was talking to me because, he could see like, yo, all right, you gotta relax. Like, because like, yo, I was good. Like I said, the second time, because remember, the first time my feet started to drift over. So then I just came back up. But so then the first time I actually got in the water, I pushed myself away. Everybody was around. Like, I felt good. But I was, staying afloat. I was swimming. It wasn't no problem. But then once they had got, 50, 60 feet away in the boat, like I said, the boat 20, 30 feet away, is like, oh man. And I think just that just caused me to panic. But I should have already assumed that I would panic. Right? I should have already assumed that, like, yo, you're going into this is a new field. Yeah, you know how to swim in a pool, right? But all of these different factors can come up on you all at one time and kind of strip away some of that knowledge that you feel like you have. So I was definitely mad, and just reflecting, I feel like, man, like, yo, man, I really should have took that into consideration. And you only get one chance for these type of experiences. You only get one chance for it to be your first time. Now, the next time that I go on a deep sea dive, like, I know what to expect. The only thing that I'll be practicing will be with the tube in my mouth. Like, I'll have to practice that, because that's going to be different. That's going to be like, if I just go under with it and just I'm swimming down, like, that's a disaster. What I need to do is, boom, put the tube in my mouth while I'm floating, stick my head in there, fill it up with water, let the tube fill up with water, bring my head out, and then spit the water out. Right? So I got to do that. I got to do that several times just so I feel comfortable. So then now, once we add the swimming, we add, all right, we're down. All right, you hold your breath for however long, it doesn't matter. So we go down halfway to the halfway point. Boom, we come back up. Now I've already practiced with the water being in the tube. Spit it out, right? Or exhale the air, push the water out the tube, take a breath, right? So I'm ready for that. I haven't done that. But like I said, I should have prepared mentally to know, like, yo, you could panic. You could panic out there, right? Certain factors right? There are certain factors. So even in a fight, right? Which, like, I never think like, yo, you could panic out there because of certain situations that I've been in. But I need to rethink all of that, right? I need to rethink all of that. What if, all right, we're fighting and then all of a sudden they just start shooting, right? They start shooting and let's say somebody that I'm with, they get hit and they fall down. Whoever's to the left, they get hit, they fall down. Whoever's to the right, they get hit, they fall down. Then what? You see what I'm saying? So that's how it was. And I wasn't thinking about that type of stuff, right? Which I just try to avoid fights altogether, but I need to think about that. All right. Okay. I get into this and then boom. What if, while I'm fighting, somebody just stabs me in the back, right? I don't even see him coming. See? So these are all things that's going to produce that same feeling, which, like I said, I definitely try to avoid that type of stuff. I definitely try to avoid it because I have an awareness of some aspects of it, but that feeling, that panicking feeling, I want that feeling to stay close, right? I don't want to get too far away from that feeling. I want to remember that, and I have to remember that. And that was like the greatest lesson. The greatest lesson at that trip. Besides, why do you want to be rich? And you want money, and like besides all of that, right? Because that's all superficial. But being overwhelmed with fear and panicking, like I need to be ready for that, because it only happens once, right? That's it. No matter what the situation is, those type of situations only happen one time. If it happens again, you know what to expect. So now you're going to act different. But these new experiences that totally shake you to your core, they only happen once. So I need to be ready. I need to be ready for those type of experiences. Not that I'm looking for them, right? But I need to anticipate. So even if I'm putting myself in a situation, right? Like just with that, like I said, with the ocean, like it was so many different things, but I should have already knew that, like, yo, this was a possibility. And I'm quite sure I thought, vaguely, I'm sure that I thought vaguely that it was a possibility, which I kind of, I remember myself saying in passing, right? So not even thinking about it, but I should have dwelled on it. But the only reason why I didn't dwell on it was because I'm like, you don't want to make it a reality, right? So that's one hand. But on the other hand, overcoming it is a reality, right? So I thought that in passing, like I said, briefly, I thought, okay, what if I become so afraid that I even forget how to swim. Right? I thought of that. And then I quickly said to myself, like, self, like, nah, I don't think like that, because, then it's just a self, fulfilling prophecy. You don't want to do that. So don't think about it. That is true. That is true. But also deal with it. So even if I'm thinking, okay, all right, you about to get in there. Now remember, this is hindsight, which is 2020, but just like with the plane and just like with crime, we go over these things so that when we experience this type of stuff again, we put ourselves in these type of situations again, we're ready, right? If I should come to some type of fire, which I would definitely not want to, but if there's a fire and a loved one is in there and they need help, and there's a part of me that feel like I can help them, I need to be ready for that fear once I get in there and I have to traverse through this burning building. Smoke, right? We know that the smoke rises. We know that, okay, you're not going to be able to breathe. It's going to be hard to breathe. You're going to get a lot of that smoke in your lungs. You're going to be coughing, right? Smoke rises. You want to crawl, but there's a lot of fire. You could get lost. Like we know that, okay, to say it is one thing, but to feel it is totally different. But I know now that feeling is going to be that same feeling when I felt like I was going under the boat, right? Like that feeling. That's the same feeling that I felt when we was over at the homie Izzy's house and a shootout just erupted right there, right? Like I'm right up on the steps. I'm the one by the door, and he has a rail, and it's probably maybe 4 or 5 of us all up there, and it just pow, 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 it just boom, it was crazy, right? So that feeling, but see, in that feeling, you get a feeling of like you can run. So that feeling is not even the same, because that feeling, even though you could have got shot, but you had a course, but the boat feeling, it was a crazy, like just that fear, that was a crazy feeling. Like I said, it wasn't hopelessness. It wasn't like I've been out there. It wasn't like I gave up, right? Which, that's not negative. I'm not saying that in a negative, because people, it's not even about them giving up, but if your body just can't do it anymore, you just get tired, right? And you just holding on with your last ounce. Don't go quietly. Don't go gently into the night. Rage against the dying light, right? So even if it's one of those type of situations, like that, the type of feeling that you're going to feel as you're, slipping and there is no hope. Like that feeling, that's a crazy feeling. Like that's a crazy feeling. It really is. It is a crazy feeling. So the main thing is when we put ourselves in situations where, like war, or like I said, with the swimming or fires or just any type of thing like that, just know that is a possibility. And if you've ever felt it, if you've ever felt that feeling, revisit that feeling. Like, don't forget that feeling, because it comes back. It comes back in certain type of situations. Do not forget that feeling. Remember it and think during it. Like so as you remember it and you feel it, think about your options, right? So that's definitely like mental preparations that I'm going to be doing. You're just walking down the street and somebody just all of a sudden, somebody just, cracks you across your face, breaks your nose, all of that, and then like breaks your nose and your teeth, and now your nose is just profusely bleeding, mouth is bleeding, you just got wrung, you don't know what just happened, right? Like you're going to get rushed with that panicking sensation, because it's going to be hard to breathe. So if you've ever felt that type of feeling, whether it's you almost drowned or maybe you couldn't breathe or whatever, right? Think through that. Like, let's think, right? Let's, go back. I challenge you guys. If you felt those type of feelings, if you've ever been in that situation, I challenge you to go back to that feeling and think about possible different solutions. Now, you guys remember when I told you when I was choking on that chicken, that pollo, huh? Pollo almost took your boy out there, right? And I thought, okay, just think. And it was quick. I mean, it was like, boom, all right, jump, boom, right? When I'm walking and the pit is free and I see that, I'm like, yo, is this go free, yo? And boom, he's charging after me. All right, take to the streets, right? So in certain situations, you think that fast, right? When you can move that fast, but like in the water, you can't move that fast. In the water, like you can't just dart in the street and then just, watch some, kind of go with the car. Like, yo, it don't work like that. You don't have that type of time, right? So that was definitely a big lesson. That was definitely a big lesson. And, look, that's that. We're definitely, like I said, tomorrow I'm going to put up my first reaction on the Artistry of YouTube channel. So, it should be the Artistry of, let's see what it's called. All right, have to open the phone. Let's go to YouTube Studio so that we can pull up the right one. You got the right one, baby. Uh-huh. So it's called The Artistry of Podcast. So I have 5 subscribers now, and we're going to do our first reaction. So we're going to do our first reaction video, or just commenting on, like, I can't say it's going to be a reaction because, like, I'm not going to play the video. I'm just going to have maybe a picture. I'm going to have the title and stuff like that. So, I'm going to I want to do one every day, right? Just on random different topics, and grow the podcast, grow the YouTube channel. Right? So that's going to start tomorrow, and I can even transfer these videos that I have and then bring those over to the channel. So we're going to do stuff like that. And so I'm excited. I'm excited for the new year. Like I said, the debt is still here. So I need to figure out, okay, what am I going to do with the job? Like, no matter what, let's just focus on ourselves. So let's close it out again with the question, who will I be in 2023? Who will you be in 2023? And Reese's oh yeah, and I'm gonna come up with a logo. All right, I'm gonna come up with the logo for that. The big homie Esteban, he was telling me this last year. Yo, man, you need to come up with one. So I already came up with it in my head. So I'm gonna create it. So we're gonna do that. So again, Reese's PCC.